Welcome back. Minister of State-Owned Enterprises Erick Thohir emphasized that the merger of Indonesia's state-owned Sharia banks is a new history for Sharia banking industry.
Minister of State-Owned Enterprises Erick Thohir emphasized that the merger of Indonesia's state-owned Sharia banks is a new history for Sharia banking industry. According to Erick, as a country with the largest Muslim population in the world, Indonesia should have a strong Sharia bank. Therefore, Erick explained that the Indonesian government, through the Ministry of SOE, took the initiative to sign a conditional merger agreement to unite the three national Sharia banks, BRI Syariah, Bank Syariah Mandiri, and BNI Syariah, into one entity. Meantime, after signing the conditional merger agreement, there are still a series of processes and stages before the merger becomes effective, including obtaining approval from the regulator. Therefore, during the process, these three banks will continue to run their normal operations and services optimally from all sources for IDX Channel.
Along with the signing of the conditional merger agreement by three Indonesia state-owned Sharia banks, this has made this merger step even more real. So how is the profile of these three Sharia banks that will be merged? Let's see the first data. This is the profile of the three Sharia banks that will be merged. The first one is Mandiri Sharia. The spin of the bank is on November 1st, 1999. The total asset by June 2020 reached 114.4 trillion rupiah, increased by 13.26% year-on-year. Meantime, for BNI Sharia, the spin-off of the bank on June 19, 2010, the total asset by June 2020 reached 50.78 trillion rupiah, increased by 17.8% year-on-year. Meantime, BRI Sharia, as surviving entity of the merger, the spin-off of the bank on January 1st, 2009, the total asset by June 2020 reached 49.6 trillion rupiah, increased by 34.7% year-on-year. The mega merger of the state-owned Sharia banks is scheduled to be completed in February 2021, and based on the conditional merger agreement, BRI Sharia will be the surviving entity, as its publicly listed status will simplify the merger. This good news has even been responded by the capital market investors. BRI Sharia stocks traded on the Indonesia Stock Exchange under the code BRIS soared 25% for 2 consecutive days on Tuesday and Wednesday, after rose by 5% on Monday. Meanwhile, with such a large asset value, the total assets of the merged bank can cause other Islamic banks to look dwarfed. Because with assets of 214 trillion rupiah, the total assets are equivalent to 40.37% of the total assets of all Sharia banking and business units in Indonesia. It means that this entity has assets of nearly half of the total assets of all its competitors. Certainly, a fantastic number from the asset. But of course, we cannot only see that from the assets. What about the ability of these banks to generate profits? The data is on the next graphic. And this is the performance of Indonesia Sharia state-owned banks in the first half of 2020. Bank Syariah Mandiri. The performance of the bank reached by 30.93%, or grew by 30.93%. The value of it reached 720.87 billion rupiah. Meantime, for BNI Sharia, it was down by 15.24% year-on-year, but the value of it reached 267 billion rupiah. And for BRI Sharia, the growth or the performance of the bank as much as 229.6% year-on-year, and the value of the growth as much as 117.2 billion rupiah. Due to a lower performance of BNI Sharia, as we can see from the graphic, BNI's Director of Services and Networks, Adi Sulistyowati, said that in the first half of 2020, BNI Sharia in fact continued to show good growth in assets and third-party funds amid the COVID-19 pandemic, where the third-party funds were able to grow 20.15% to 43.64 trillion rupiah. But however, in terms of distribution of funds, BNI Sharia focuses on mitigating the risk of financing due to the impact of COVID-19, which caused BNI Sharia financing decreased 108%, and this factor is one of the causes of the decline of the company's profit in the first half. We hope that positive performance will again be achieved in the remaining of the year. So, viewers, regarding the state-owned Sharia banks merger, how is the response from the Indonesia's Financial Services Authority? And let's take a look at the next graphic. This is the statement of Wimbo Santoso. He's the OJK's chairman of the board of the commissioner. He said that the merger of 3 state-owned banks or Sharia banks is also in line with Indonesia's efforts to become a center for Sharia financial development, which currently ranks in the top 4 in the development of the Islamic finance industry based on the Islamic Finance Development Indicator. And chairman of the OJK Board of Commissioners, Wimbo Santoso, supports the merger of the 3 state-owned Sharia banks. According to Wimbo, mergers and acquisitions in the national banking industry will increase the efficiency and competitiveness of Sharia banking in the global arena. He ensures that this is in line with OJK's goals to build a healthy, competitive banking industry that could provide better service quality and to make the best contribution to economic development. For that, he admitted that he would facilitate with various policies and provisions so that this corporate action will run according to the planned time stages. Meanwhile, this merger is also expected to be able to make state-owned Sharia bank from Indonesia into the top 10 Sharia banks with the largest assets in the world, which refers to data from the Asian banker. The merged bank has the potential to take place on the 10th rank in the world above Bank Rakyat Malaysia. Apart from the benefits and the huge potential from this merger, of course, there are a number of challenges that must be anticipated. To find out more, let's go to the next graphic. These are the list of the biggest challenges of Sharia state-owned banks merger. The first one is, of course, about the effectivity. Will the merger automatically increase market share and market alignment requirements of all merged banks and need an additional capital injection to be equivalent to a Book 4 bank? And not only that, the potential for layoffs is also an issue for companies that decide to merge. And this is, of course, a concern for the employees of these banks. However, related to this, the President Director of Mandiri Sharia, who is also the chairman of the Sharia bank merger process, Tony Subari, emphasized that and even guaranteed that there will be no termination of employment. And not only answering employees' concerns, at the same time, he also ensures services and operations for customers will continue to run based on customer needs. There is no change in operations where customer needs remain a priority and services will be provided optimally. And hopefully, it can also be the answer for you, the customers of these state-owned Sharia banks. And hopefully, the merger plan will be well executed and will deliver greater performance or positive impacts to the nation. Stay tuned on Market Line Speakers. We'll be right back after the break.